guys, welcome back to my channel. Tara here. Today I have a video that's pretty personal and exciting for me to share, and this is going to be the truth about homeschooling and why I think you should homeschool. Okay, so I realize there is a lot of stigma and whatnot around homeschooling and people think homeschoolers are weird. But in this video I'm just going to give you the complete truth about homeschooling, my experience, what I thought about other homeschoolers. I'm just going to give it all to you and I'm going to give you my reasons why I think you should homeschool. Okay, so I've basically got like a list of little notes on my phone, so if I'm looking at my phone, that's why. So a little bit of a background story. I originally started homeschooling because I used to be a full-time figure skater, and skating took up a lot of time, like you don't understand so much time, and often skating would coincide with my regular school time, so I would skate at like 11 AM. And sometimes I would ditch school to go skating, and obviously that did not work out. I would miss class, things just got messy, so that's why I convinced my mom to let me switch to homeschooling. And I homeschooled for quite a while, and I'm not gonna lie, I got lonely in the beginning because I didn't really think it through. I sort of just started homeschooling without like thinking it through. And only later on did I realize that you actually really have to put yourself out there to make friends. So I was homeschooled while I did figure skating, and I soon got lots of injuries and I got diagnosed with a genetic condition which meant I could no longer skate. And that's when I went back to school, I think in like grade 10. My story is a little bit confusing. If you guys would like the full story on my homeschooling versus regular school, I will give it to you. It's really long though. So I went back to school and I absolutely hated it. Like, guys, once you've been homeschooled, you cannot go back. It just drives you insane. So the first thing that drove me crazy about going back to school was the absolute waste of time. So you see, that's the number one thing I loved about homeschooling, is you have so much flexibility with your time and you can get your school done so quickly. If you work hard, you can get it done, out the way, and move on. So I would generally only do school for like 2 to 3 hours a day back in grade 10. And then the rest of the day I had free to like skate, see friends, do what I wanted, do art, have fun. Like, it was wonderful, it was marvellous. Okay, and then I went back to school and it's like 8 AM till 4 PM. And I was like, this is such a waste of time. And guys, the teachers took so long to get through stuff, and I'm like, I could have just read this in my textbook. It literally drove me insane. And then like other kids in the class would stall the teacher and they would get the teacher to tell stories so that they wouldn't have to do like work in class. And I'm like, this is so pointless, because if the teacher doesn't get to giving us work, we're just going to get assigned it for homework. And like, I would come home tired with homework and I got so irritated with like the absolute waste of time. School wasted so much time from going between classes, and like when other students distracted the teacher, it was just, it irritated me. So that is the number one amazing thing about homeschooling, is the flexibility with time, and it allows you to do what you love. So I would do my school within 2 to 3 hours, and I just worked very intensely, and then I could do my skating and everything for the rest of the day. I could see friends. It was wonderful. Okay, and then some like little perks along with like the flexibility and whatnot. You can literally just like take your books with you places, and if your schooling is online on a computer, if some of the stuff is offline, you can just take it with you. I mean, I would like sometimes read stuff while in the car on the way to the ice rink, and I would study in coffee shops all over the place. Like, it just gave me so much freedom and flexibility. And what I absolutely loved was like I could eat whenever I wanted. It was the best ever. And another thing is that you don't have to get up early in the morning. Okay, well this depends on how strict your parents are. When I first started homeschooling, I was pretty good. Like, I used to get up at 8 AM, do my school. I was a good kid. I'm not gonna lie, as I got older, I got lazy. So I'm a true night owl, and I go to bed at like 3 AM, 4 AM. And I wake up at like 12 or 1 PM. But you know what, it's not the end of the world. As long as you get enough sleep and you're doing your school, it doesn't matter. I mean, okay, maybe your parents might object to this, but like my mom's also a night owl, so we often stay up till 3 AM anyway. But I mean, you can completely tailor your routine because you're homeschooled. It's so amazing. And I also have sleep problems, so often I can't sleep at night, and then with school I'd have to wake up early in the morning and I hadn't slept well and it was such a nightmare. Like, I have major insomnia problems. So with the homeschooling, if I couldn't sleep that night, then I could just sleep in the next day and just start school later in the day and just work later on in the evening. And you can just completely tailor it to yourself. And like, say on a Tuesday a friend invited me to go to the beach or something. I remember this happened, and I thought, what about school? And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take Tuesday off and not do school. I'll rather do school on Saturday. Like, it really didn't matter. As long as you get through your stuff and you pace yourself, you're good. Okay, the second thing that is so wonderful and actually really important about homeschooling is it teaches you independence and responsibility. Now, I think this is so important. For me, I didn't have anyone teaching me, so my mum and I just ordered the books. If you're wondering, I did the Cambridge CIE examinations, so I ordered all my Cambridge books online, and I studied the books, and it was all up to me. If I failed my exams, I couldn't blame anyone other than myself. So I took full responsibility for everything that I did, and it's hard, but it really like teaches you independence, and I think it's such a great trait to have. And it also taught me a lot of time management. So I would often like draw up my own schedules, and like just to get like a little bit of structure, I would try to tell myself, okay, like do 3 hours of school a day, or do so much of maths per day, or you know, so and so that I don't just like completely ignore one subject. And also, wait, this I really loved about homeschooling is sometimes, okay, I'm someone who, when I'm in the mood to do something, I'll do it, and I can't do anything else. So sometimes I would get in the mood to do English, and I would just like really focus on English and spend like 2 full days only doing English and get through a lot of stuff in English and ignore the other subjects. But then after those 2 days, I'd switch back to the other subjects. So it gave this wonderful freedom that if you're in the mood for maths, you could do maths rather than forcing yourself to do English when you don't feel like doing English. So I just absolutely love that. Okay, but back onto responsibility and independence. It's been shown in studies that homeschoolers do better when they go to university. They adjust better to living on their own because they're used to the independence, and that they were less likely, I think, to succumb to like peer pressures and whatnot. They just adjusted better generally. Homeschoolers, I think, had a higher success rate in university and a higher pass rate within university. Less homeschoolers dropped out, and they were more likely to like think to rate themselves as happy while at university. So yeah, with me, I kind of had to develop my own schedule of when to wake up, when to go to sleep, how many hours to do per day, how to balance and make sure I was doing enough chemistry, enough of this, enough of that. Like, I had to build my own schedule. I had no teacher. I couldn't blame anyone if I failed, and that just taught me so much. And yeah, I'm actually really thankful for the homeschooling. Okay, let's go on to the subject of socialization now. Now, this drives me insane because I have had so many people come up to me and say, how do you meet new people? How do you socialize? Are you weird because you don't socialize? Drove me insane. Now, can I tell you, of like all the teenagers and whatnot that I've met, generally the homeschoolers are more socialized than the regular public school goers. It's the weirdest thing ever. And I actually realized the other day what it is. If you think about it, if you're in regular high school, you're going to the same school every day. You're in the same classroom every day with the same teachers, surrounded by the same other students every day. You're surrounded by the same people every day. You don't get to experience new people, new cultures. Now, as a homeschooler, you have to actively put yourself out there to make friends. You can't just sit at home expecting someone to knock on your door and say, do you want to hang out? You have to put yourself out there. So with skating, I did make friends at skating. I had to talk to people and put myself out there. And from the skating, I also did some training overseas, and I made friends overseas. And that was another wonderful thing about homeschooling and the flexibility was traveling. I got to travel so much because I could just adjust my schedule. So I would just leave school in March and then come back to it when I got back in April. So yeah, I made friends overseas, and I honestly don't know how, but I've just made friends, and I've noticed like I socialize with adults quite well. I don't know, it's just, to me, socialization has never been a problem. And quite a lot of my friends have gotten this question as well from random people saying, how do you socialize? How do you make friends? And we just do somehow. I'm not even sure how. And sometimes I'll meet friends through friends, just like a regular person. And what's interesting is I know homeschoolers who are so happy and have so many friends and are so social. And I know people who've gone to public school and are so unhappy and lonely and have no friends. It's ridiculous that there's so much stigma around this. Like, drives me insane. But that is something to consider when homeschooling, is that you do have to put yourself out there to make friends. You can't just sit at home. You have to put yourself out there. There are homeschooling groups online you can look at online. I never joined any of those because, to be honest, I did actually find those a bit weird. I think I went to one homeschool outing thing and I just found it strange because we were kind of just a bunch of strangers and it was really weird. If you do any activities in sports, you can get involved with people. Like I did dance and I met people at my dance club obviously, and I made friends through that. So you see where I'm going with it. If you join some kind of club, go to an art club. I remember I did art like through a club. You just meet people and you have to talk to them. And what's lovely about homeschooling is that because you are often in new environments and around new people, you get to talk to like a wide variety of people and of different cultures, whereas if you're just in public school, you're talking to the same people every single day, surrounded by the same people every day of the same culture. There's like nothing new. You're not learning anything new. With all the traveling I did, I experienced so many cultures and I'm so grateful because traveling is the most wonderful thing ever and I'm just so happy. Okay, so next, homeschooling allows you to focus on what you love. So say you're, I don't know, a maths genius. If you homeschool, you can really focus your efforts on maths, and I think that's wonderful. And at the same time, you can focus on your weaknesses and you can work on them. So if you have a weak spot for like chemistry, you can really like put in the extra time there. It really allows you to tweak your schedule. If you have a certain weakness, you can put maybe a couple extra hours in every week to work on that weakness. And I also did have a maths tutor, I think, around the time when I was studying for GCSEs, I think I had a maths tutor once a week and I just worked at it and it was pretty simple. I don't know, homeschooling for me was so simple. You just have to, there's a fly in my face. You just have to learn to work hard, and along with the independence, I've noticed so many school kids just rely so fully on their teachers to give them everything and then blame their teachers if they don't pass or whatever. And I'm like, you know what, okay, I read from my textbook, but my textbook doesn't always have everything in it. So I go online, I check the specification for my exam board. This is so important, the specification, and I go through it and I look, okay, I need to know this about alkenes, I need to know this about alkanes. And if something's missing from my textbook, because you guys, you have to know, sometimes the textbook does not have everything. I'll go and Google whatever I'm missing or whatever I don't understand. I'll go on YouTube and look stuff up. So you learn to be independent and you learn to research stuff on your own and actively seek out information on your own. I never had a teacher spoon feeding me stuff about alkanes and alkenes and chemistry. I had to go look for it online if I didn't understand it. And it just taught me so much independence and I'm so thankful for that. Oh, I don't know why, but my throat is so sore. I don't know. Guys, do you ever get this from talking a lot? Like your throat just gets really sore. Okay. Although, I actually did recently have the flu, and I don't think my throat has fully recovered, and talking a lot to the camera is just like making it even more sore. I don't want this to be happening right now. So yeah, going along with focusing on what you love, with me, homeschooling allowed me to focus on my skating, which I would never have been able to do if I'd continued to go to regular school. I wouldn't have had the hours to skate. I mean, I remember I used to leave for the rink at like 2 p.m. and my teacher used to get so pissed off with me because we were only supposed to leave school at 2:15. That's a 15-minute difference. Like, I don't know what her problem was, but she got annoyed with me. And like, it was just stressful and difficult and like annoying, and I wasn't able to fully focus on my skating then. And homeschooling allowed me to, and it was just so amazing. And any weaknesses that I had, I got a tutor or I went on YouTube and Googled things. You see, when you're in class, like, and you have a weakness in a certain spot, you can't really like keep the whole class behind just because you're weak in a certain area. So, I mean, homeschooling was just really wonderful in that sense. Okay, the next really wonderful thing about homeschooling is that you don't have to deal with like annoying people at school and the cliques and the bitches. I'm sorry I said that, but you don't have to deal with that. And I know some people might object and say, yes, but you should learn to deal with that at school and life and whatever. And I was told so many times that like I'm not being socialized enough. What does that even mean? Like, shouldn't I be around people my own age? Shouldn't I be around more people my own age? I used to get so annoyed because I kept getting labeled as weird and I feel completely fine. I mean, I've had people tell me that I'm one of the most social people they know, and I find that so funny. Anyway, So when I went back to school, my goodness, like the amount of drama and whatnot that went on was so annoying and distracting and just irritating. And when you're homeschooled, you don't have to bother with that. It's just, yeah, you don't have to deal with the peer pressure and everything. I mean, I suppose in a way it is good to witness peer pressure and see it, and actually learn not to like succumb to peer pressure. But I mean, when you're homeschooled, you just don't even have to deal with it at all. It's like the best ever. And I mean, in the studies done, it was shown that homeschoolers, once they went to university, were less likely to succumb to peer pressure. So, I mean, I don't think not going to school has affected me in any way. And actually, I recently got asked a question by someone saying, how do you think homeschooling will affect you when you go to university? I just thought that was so rude. I'm like, what, do you think I'm weird? I'm talking to you, you can see I'm communicating with you, I can socialize. Anyway, sorry, going on a rant here. I just had so many annoying questions from people. But yeah. So, as I was saying, it's really nice not having to deal with bitchy people. Sorry guys, my camera just shut off, so I had to like restart everything, and sorry if the lighting or whatever has changed. And I can't remember what I was saying. I think I was talking about annoying people in school and peer pressure. But I just wanted to mention one last amazing thing about homeschooling is that you get to do school in bed while eating. Like, what is better than that? I remember in winter like snuggling up in my bed, being all cozy while like reading my textbook, and I'd have like hot chocolate next to me. It was the best thing ever, so I just wanted to quickly add that in. And I hope you guys found this video helpful and enjoyable. Comment, like, subscribe if you found this video helpful, and let me know in the comments down below if this was helpful and insightful to you. And if you're a homeschooler, let me know down below. And you know what? Comment what time it is where you are. Just curious to know what time you're watching this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Okay, bye!